There we go.
All right, all right, all right. This will be my quietest clap ever. I need
I was gonna say, I feel like with the night you're having, it's gonna be a low tone Jack tonight.
I need Walker to stay asleep. Please stay asleep, buddy. All right,
You
let's do this
ready?
thing. Yep. Three, two, one.
I don't even know why we try to clap on on the remote ones, but
I know it's a
uh,
horrible idea.
yeah,
It's a horrible idea, but
speaking of horrible ideas,
either way, welcome on in. It's a new edition of Clap Your Hands, presented by Coors Light, Elliott Shore Parks, and Jack Fritz, as we are reacting to a trade deadline that I don't think you and I have ever been so on opposite ends of.
yeah,
It really broke early. They traded for Buddy Hield. They traded. We'll obviously get into it all, but just a full recap. They traded for Buddy Hield, three second round picks, and for the Marcus Morris.
yeah.
See
Bye
ya.
bye, Daniel House.
Daniel House, keys to the city for Marcus Morris, and then out of nowhere,
Yeah,
at like 1:30, all of a sudden Pat Bev is shipped out of town. They go past 3 o'clock and nothing really happened. Elliot, what was your big takeaway on the day? How you feeling? A good 6 hours removed from the trade deadline. What's kind of hitting you?
yeah. So if you were listening on WIP and I was on from 10 to 2 and then an hour with you guys, like watching it live and going through it, I'll be honest, like my biggest feeling was disappointment that this is it. Like me and you did the pod when they traded James Harden and talked about how they're going to have so many assets to make this team better. And when Daryl Morey talked about the idea of trading Harden, when he did trade Harden, that his responsibility as GM of the Sixers is to make it so Joel Embiid has the best chance to win every year he's in the league. And it's his responsibility to surround Joel with talent. How was that an accomplishment today? Like Buddy Hield, we'll get into him more. I think he obviously is a great 3-point shooter, all those things. Buddy Hield's not changing this
No.
team's fate. Like the guys that they brought in are not changing this team's fate. Campaign is not changing anything about this team. They traded some second round picks, but they got a lot back too. Like they didn't spend big draft capital today. They didn't spend any of their first round picks. They didn't trade Toby. Like when I woke up this morning, I was hopeful that they were going to make impact moves that when we did this pod tonight or when I went to bed tonight or the next time they played, you would look and go, okay, you know what? They're going to be able to weather the storm of Joel being out. And when Joel gets back, they're going to have someone to help him do the job and help the Sixers perhaps advance further in the playoffs than they ever had. They didn't do anything like that today. So did they get marginally better? Sure. If you really want to just look just on the court, Campaign is probably better than Pat Bev. Buddy Hield is a player that, I think is going to come in. He's going to shoot a lot of threes, which is something the Sixers needed. But I didn't want to have a day where I have to squint to make it look good. Like I wanted a day where we did a pod and we started and it's like they went out and they shocked the world and they got Paul George. Or, oh my God, they did get Murray. And can you believe they actually traded for Jimmy Butler? And man, Anthony Simons, no one thought they were going to trade for him. Like it was none of that. There was no creativity. There was nothing special about today. They are better, sure. But I don't feel better. Like I don't feel good about where this team is at. I feel discouraged. I feel disappointed. And I feel let down, frankly, by like the team and how they handled this.
Well, I couldn't disagree more. Like
Do
it absolutely stinks that we're here. Like, believe me, I don't want to be happy that the Sixers didn't do anything because I would love to feel like I'm heading down the stretch run and into the postseason, thinking that my team has a chance to win a title. I just didn't think this was that team, and especially with Joel going out. I think so much had to go right in order for this team to really compete and win and go for a title. And Daryl Morey is a big championship probability guy, and I feel like all day he basically was like, "You got to know when to hold him, and you got to know when to fold him." And I think today,
Look at that.
I
Look
know,
at that lyric.
yeah,
Like that.
I know you're a big Kenny Rogers guy,
Is that you
but
saying that?
yes,
Okay.
but like it's not the year, and I know that people will argue, well, it's never going to be the year. It's never going to be the year. I'm not trading a bunch of assets for a team where they might not know if Joel Embiid even suits up again. Like, don't you kind of think that if Morey felt really confident that Joel Embiid was going to get back and be the Joel Embiid that we saw for the beginning of the season, that he would have traded more. I mean, the Buddy Hield thing is like a half in move that didn't kill you because you traded everything else to get back the second round picks. And we didn't even get into Jaden Springer.
Yeah, that was like the hysterical icing on the cake.
Well,
like,
I just thought it like
yeah,
I just thought it was stupid. You didn't have to trade Jaden Springer to the Celtics for a second round pick. Just buy a second round pick. But I guess they want to get under the luxury tax, whatever. The luxury tax thing is whatever. Like, to give up the only thing that Pat Bev, losing Pat Bev was annoying because I liked Pat Bev as a player and a guy, and I thought he added toughness to this team that they hadn't had. I obviously liked Marcus Morris, key to the city. I just think the Jaden Springer move is dumb. Like, you can't tell me that you couldn't develop him in the next 2 to 3 years, becomes a useful NBA player. Like, they have 3 players heading into next year under contract. Like, those kind of things annoyed me. I would not have traded Jaden Springer. But like, the overall thing, like, if Morey truly believed that Joel Embiid was going to be back and had 2 weeks to ramp up for the playoffs, I think he would have been more in today. But I think he knows better than we do the health of Joel Embiid. So why am I trading all this stuff for a fugazi shot at a title?
Well, so here's what I'd say. Let's say we agreed and that we didn't think the Sixers were going to do anything this year. And at this point, I agree with you. Like, I think the chances this team makes a run in the playoffs are very slim. Like, we're talking 1%, right? Now let's stick with that. Let's say I agreed with you that the right thing to do today was to punt. Because that's what they're doing. Like, we can debate how we feel about it. The Sixers are telling us they don't have confidence they can compete this year. Because if they did, they would have gone out and made more instant impact moves. But let's say, we agree. Then how does this help for the future? Like, Buddy Hield helps you be a little bit better this year. Cam Payne is not a long-term player. You got rid of Jaden Springer. Pat Bev is gone, which, I was debating this when we were in today with Spike, who was in with you guys and Ike and all that. Like, I understand you can't make moves for the fans, but come on, man. Like, Cam Payne in a second round pick, like, let's not act like they traded Pat Bev as part of a larger package to get a great player, a great amount of picks. They're not any better set up for the future than they were earlier today. It's not like if they would have came out of this trade deadline and they acquired 2 extra first round picks, or they went and they acquired a young player that cost effective and they're going to have him for a few years, then I still wouldn't like it because I don't like the idea of punting on this season. But at least I could sit there and go, you know what? They made moves where they have an eye on the future. And I think they got better for the future. They didn't really get better for either. Like, they got marginally better this year. So if you feel like, they should invest in the team, they invested in this team more than they did in the future team. Now, you're right that they didn't give up assets and eat up cap space in those things, but they're not any more set up for the future than they were 12 hours ago. Like, they're not more set up for anything other than to watch Buddy Hield, shoot a few threes, which is, again, bucket boy. I love threes. I love guards. So, Buddy's my kind of guy. And so it hurts me that I have to be so anti-Buddy here. But it just did feel like they didn't really accomplish anything today. Like, it was just moving chairs around and not doing anything.
Well, yeah, it's moving chairs around on the Titanic too.
Yes. Yeah.
Here's my thing with Buddy Hield. The Pacers think that they have a chance to win the East this year. Why are they giving away a guy that can shoot like that? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I can't figure out, And Buddy's been a guy that has moved around a lot. Well, Sacramento and Indiana never really lived up to the hype coming out. Maybe because he was 25 dominating college kids. I'm shocked.
There are probably some bad Elliott Shore-Parks Buddy Hield tweets. If you think my Noah Vonleh tweets are bad, I guarantee there's got to be some Buddy ones out there. I was big on Buddy coming out of college.
Buddy Hield I feel like he's been a Sixer since I was in college.
100%. It's also crazy he's been in the league this long. Yeah, I think it's over 10 years.
He's got to be in his mid-30s by this point? I'm just
kidding. Yeah. No, I don't think he's that old. But it feels like it's been a long time.
Well, yeah, because, dude, he was 24, dominating college basketball. I'd hope you'd be able to do that if you had a modicum of talent. Buddy Hield was a very frustrating draft process with the Buddy Hield stuff. But
yes.
Regardless, we were not doing this podcast then, so it doesn't really matter. But I was right about Buddy Hield.
There you go. Glad you got that out there.
Finally, I was able to get all that good stuff out there. If you're the Pacers and you have a chance to go for you win the East this year, let's say one member of this podcast had the Pacers plus 5,000 to win the East. Why why are you getting rid of a guy that shoots at a 40% clip? Like, just because he's expiring? Maybe Marcus Morris they view as, well, Marcus Morris, they already traded him. They got Dougie McBuckets back. Really just a great day for old draft takes with McDermott and Buddy Hield being shipped around.
Where's Noah Vonleh when you need him,
Yeah, where is good old Noah? I'm just happy that, because I don't know, you mentioned all those guys, and you and I could debate DeJounte Murray. But like, of all, who was out there? Like, who was out there?
DeJounte Murray.
Right. Besides DeJounte Murray, which didn't get moved anyway. Like,
right.
Who was the guy that you're trading multiple first-round picks for? Like, the only one that got traded for multiple first-round picks was, Anunoby and Siakam? I mean, I don't think Anunoby was a first-round pick.
So my counter to that would be, now, I understand, to use a phrase, it takes two to tango. Not sure if you've heard that. But I know that, like...
GM speak out of you.
Thank you. Like that. I know that it takes another team willing to make a trade. But if all Morey can do is just make trades with guys that are on the block and like guys that the people are trying to get rid of, then like what's his real skill? Like I could trade for somebody that like, the team is trying to get rid of and is very the whole point of having one of the best GMs in the league is he does things that are unexpected. What's been unexpected that he's done? He held James Harden for a few months, ended up trading him for the Clippers anyway, traded him for a package that we liked at the time. And our guy Batum has been good and all that. But like, I don't know. I'd rather have James Harden. Like they got draft picks, but what have they even used those for at this point? We'll see what it turns into. But when they traded for James Harden, it was like we're not gonna punt on this year. They punted. Like you can say no one's available
because Joel Embiid is hurt. Like what are you talking about?
But that doesn't mean you have to punt.
Yes,
Why?
it does. Yes,
Why?
It does. Because his name
I
might not come back.
Yelling.
He might not come back. That's why they punted. If he's healthy, they're not punting today, Elliot.
Right, I get that. But here's the thing. You had $100 million of expiring contracts to trade today. Those contracts you didn't trade, Toby, Covington, I'm fine with keeping Batum, but he's also expiring. Like, there are players that you could have traded today that now are just going to leave at the end of the season for nothing. Like, nothing. Toby, just gone. All the years of talking about Toby, he's not getting traded. He's going to play this whole contract out. Covington, he might not play again this year. He's just going to eat money up. So while you were right that like Embiid being out is a factor, and certainly with this team now, it's a major factor. Like they're probably going to be the 7th seed now at best because of how this.
Do we have to watch, by the way?
I know.
Do we have to?
I'm kind of excited to hate watch a little. I feel like I've been watching for a long time, like almost like, here's what I'll describe it as. When Jordan Matthews was on the Eagles, and I was big into Jordan Matthews, whenever I watched him, I felt like a parent where I was like, oh God, don't drop it. Or like, oh, don't throw it to him. Like with the Sixers, I've been so defensive of them that watching them has been a little like, you probably feel this with, some of the people you have takes on.
Oh, it's the Phillies, dude. I mean, every that's why every Phillies game is so intense for me, because every time they lose, I feel like everyone's going to hate them.
Exactly. That's how I felt with the Sixers. And now it feels a little nice to be in line with everyone that's so mad about this trade deadline. And just to circle back to that, again, I know you can't make trades just to please the fans. But come on, man. Like getting rid of Pat Bev just to acquire Campaign in a second. Like Daryl Morey's online. He knows people love Pat Bev. He's in that locker room. We'll get into it a little bit.
He probably listens to the podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure. He clearly listens to Sixers podcast, and we're the #1 podcast. So I'm sure he's listened. But it just like it's the extra like kick. It's like, man, now Pat Bev's gone too. Like we spent so much, we called him untouchable on this pod multiple times, right?
Smart.
And I know Joel being out changes
analysis.
how you view. Yeah, well, yeah. But I know Joel being out changes how you view the team. But I don't know, man. Isn't there part of you that just enjoying the team and watching it that's like, come on. Like, what are you trading Pat Bev for? Like you're making it worse on the fans and worse on everybody watching this team just to acquire an extra second. And I thought that was just. I thought it was a bad trade. I saw someone tweet this, and I apologize who, because I can't remember who, but it was something like Daryl Morey really views players as just assets. And maybe that's a good quality in a GM, and maybe, whatever. But there felt like there was no reading the room here on trading Pat Bev.
And this is going to be my most like old WIP boomer basketball take of all time. But Daryl Morey doesn't know how to build a winner. Like
look at that.
He could do his little assets. Our treat doesn't matter about the locker room. The locker room doesn't matter at all. If he can get a 2nd-round pick and a starting caliber point guard that can shoot the basketball better than Pat Bev, he'll take that, because I don't know how much he really values the locker room chemistry and stuff that matters in the locker room. It's been the biggest thing sorry to bring it back to the Phillies, but like Matt Klentak was someone who was always about like the locker room chemistry doesn't matter, like they'll figure it out, yada yada yada. The biggest thing that Dave Dombrowski has changed is finding the right pieces for that locker room and bringing in a Schwarber, bringing in these guys that he knows can Castellanos in a way for sure, but
he's a good locker room guy.
He's a good locker room guy,
yeah.
But really valuing how to build a team culture and camaraderie. And that's what makes it frustrating, because that's what this year felt like. This year felt like he finally got it, where, like Pat Bev's here, Marcus Morris is here, these guys that are tough and play hard and maybe metric wise. Yeah, they're not great NBA players, but for the first time in a while, people like love the Sixers.
Yes,
and I know. Last year, people loved the Sixers before the postseason. This year, I think if you talk to a majority of fans, it did feel different. And yes, that's what annoys me about the Pat Bev trade. That's what annoys me about the Jaden Springer trade. It's just like we're doing this all for second round picks. Like I thought we were all under the assumption that second round picks are the biggest waste of things in sports right now. So it is frustrating. And plus, like, I don't know if I'm sure you have, I'm sure that our listeners have. Campaign is the worst, man. Like he is the absolute freaking worst. He does not pass the basketball. He shoots all the time. If you bet on someone else on the team, it's going to lose. He is just awful. He is not a good NBA player. He shoots you out of basketball games. I hate players that shoot you out of basketball games and like don't move the basketball. You have to move the basketball.
Is that why you love Zach LaVine?
That's why. He's basically a worse.
A littler Zach LaVine. Yeah.
A littler Zach LaVine. So to go from Pat Bev to Campaign all for a second round pick is incredibly annoying. Like it's weird because I feel a couple things. Like on one hand, why? And on the other hand, like I'm happy they didn't really invest in this team because I thought it was kind of over. But I just it bothers me because it does make me worry going forward. Does this guy truly understand how to build a winner, or is it just assets, doesn't matter about team camaraderie?
Right. And, to talk about the team both this year and for the future, right? So for the future, what's the plan here? Like, hope this offseason that Paul George doesn't sign with the Clippers and you get to sign a 33-year-old Paul George who is leaving a team that presumably is going to come off a playoff disappointment. Like, you're not getting Paul George if he has an outstanding postseason. You're probably not getting Paul George in general. What other free agents are there going to be? We talked about Pascal Siakam today on the air. They clearly don't value Pascal Siakam. Like, they could have traded for him, or they, went and got him right now if they wanted. And I don't love the idea of signing him anyway. So basically their whole plan now is to hope somebody asks out. And I know that, you can never fully guess, but who's it going to be? Like, unless Daryl Morey, look, if Daryl Morey has secret intel that Anthony Edwards is asking out, or Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and this summer they trade for one of them, all right, I'll eat my words and props to him. But who's it going to be? Like, what star is out there? Devin Booker would be awesome. What are the chances Devin Booker gets traded?
Well, it's probably Paul George if we had to.
Well, also the leaking, and I don't know who leaked it. Maybe it was Paul George's agent, maybe it was the Sixers. But like the leak right after the trade deadline of the Sixers expect to have big interest in Paul George, I felt was such a smack in the face to fans. It's like you just had this incredibly disappointing deadline. Everybody, all the fans are furious. Like, people are livid at what you did. And the carrot that gets hung out for 4 months from now is, hey, we might sign Paul George. Like, forget that. We just spent 4 months thinking you might do something. Now I'm supposed to sit here again and be like, yeah, in 4 months, maybe they'll get him. They're not going to get Paul George. Let's be real. What are the chances Paul George comes here? 5%?
Why are they not getting Paul George?
Because Paul George is going to re-sign in LA. Why would he hit free agency?
I don't know. Because maybe they commit to Harden. They re-sign Harden, and they obviously Kawhi's there. And like, can they afford three $55 million a year players? Does he?
Well, they go to luxury tax. They can't. I mean, I know there's new rules, so maybe I'm wrong about that.
But does he feel like he's starting to get squeezed out, where it's Harden and Kawhi's team? And like, dude, again, I texted you this morning. He was 0 for 7 and had 7 points from 3 last night. Like it feels like that Clippers team is starting to transition more into James Harden and Kawhi's team more than Paul George. Like, do they move on from that and use that cap space to sign more players? I don't know.
Let
could
me
see
put it
Paul
this way.
George happening.
If they get Paul George here, it's not the version of the Paul George you want. If Paul George is still good and worth a max deal, he will not leave LA. If the Clippers are moving away from Paul George, it's because they think James Harden, someone that everyone in Philly thinks is hot garbage, is better than him. They think Kawhi Leonard, someone who's been injured, is more reliable than him. They just built a new stadium. They're like the number one seed in the West. And we're supposed to think that them letting Paul George walk is going to happen if they still want Paul George. He's from LA. You think he's going to move across the country to go practice in Trenton with this team? Like, he's not coming here. He's not coming here unless it's his only option. So they're really
Wildwood.
Yeah, exactly. You can go down the Jersey Shore. The only option they have is to hope and pray. Like, that's it. And yes, they are well equipped to make a trade. They have first round picks. They have cap space. But you have to get somebody with those things. And they wasted so many assets today. So all year.
Well, they got them all back, sort of. I mean, they lost 1 second round pick.
This is the other thing. They overpaid for Buddy Hield. It wasn't like an egregious overpay. It wasn't, this massive, like, what a waste of assets. But it was kind of like when the Eagles traded for Robert Quinn. Now, that didn't work out. But you sat there and you looked and go, okay, they traded for a defensive end because it makes sense. It's an important position and you pay a premium for that. 3 second-round picks and 2 expiring contracts for an equally expiring contract. Like, what is that? Like, that's a move that a competing team makes. Bad news. Like, they're not a competing team anymore. Like, if Joel comes back and he's MVP Joel, maybe they have a small shot. But to your point, we have no idea what Joel is going to be. So you basically just got Buddy Hield for 3 second-round picks. And I know you reacquired some, but like, it's an overpay. Like, no matter how you slice it, they paid too much for Buddy Hield. So,
well, you also get the right to sign him in the offseason. So
you do at 2 years, $40 million. Like, I don't think any move they made today, they got the better end of the deal. Like, Buddy Hield, you could at most say is a push. Daniel House, for whatever they did, like, who cares? I don't think they got a better end of the deal with Pat Bev and campaign. And then they traded Jaden Springer, who we haven't talked about a lot yet. I think Jaden Springer's not good. So I'm not going to like lose it over him. But you trade him to the Celtics. Like, This is a guy that finally is coming off a few good games. I can't wait to watch Springer lock up Maxey in the postseason, by the way. Like, if there's anything Springer is designed to do, it is to shut down Maxey. You drafted this guy in the first round. You invested all this time in him. You've played him minutes at the NBA. You've like developed him for 3 years, and then you just trade him. And it's probably because he sucks. But like, who cares, man? Like, you trade him to your number one rival in the conference. You're a former first-round pick, so that goes down as a big miss for Morey. Like, I don't look at any of these deals, and none of them scream creativity. None of them give me the reason to believe that they have a great plan moving forward. Like, where's my reason to feel excited? Like, why would I go down and watch a Sixers game? Like, that's, I think, what's most frustrating is they're telling you they're punting. Like, they're saying to everybody, we are not trying to compete this year. And like, that's not how we felt a month ago.
Yes. When Joel Embiid was healthy. Like, it's as simple as that.
But then rule Joel out. Don't say in 4 weeks he might come back.
Because they can't do
rule
that.
Him out, man.
Because they can't do that. Because they, if you want to talk, like, they have to sell playoff tickets and the chance that Joel Embiid can
that's
play.
Disappointing too then.
But they're also not good. I think they showed you by their actions today. They're not sure. But that doesn't mean that you can't just invest all this stuff in a team where you're not sure if the best players will be back, and then you're wasting time. All just to be the 7 seed and lose to the Bucks in the first round. I know it's Doc, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. But like, you could lose in the first round to the Bucks, and it's just like, well, what the hell's the point? The other thing that we haven't totally talked about, but like, if this whole thing is to get Kyle Lowry in the buyout market.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Just keep that bet. Like, Kyle Lowry can't play anymore. Like, maybe for 15 minutes a night you can get a useful Kyle Lowry, and sure, it'd be fun to have a homecoming, and the Kyle Lowry move 4 years ago would have been cool. This is nothing to me.
Well, so Howie Roseman always says that one way they try to win and stay competitive is you're a step ahead of everybody. Like, I honestly can't think of an example when they've been a step ahead, but just they try to stay a step ahead. The Knicks are like hoarding all these winning Villanova players, all right? And they're red hot. And I know OG has a injury now, so who sees what happens. But the Knicks are like Nova Central. And it's almost like the Sixers were saying, hey, that's working out. Let's get the washed, old, can't play anymore Nova player. Like, they're like 18 steps behind. Like, and now the funny thing is Kyle Lowry's actually shot it pretty well this year. I think he's shooting almost 40% on 3 or 4 threes a game. But last year in the playoffs, and when they have played the Heat, and I didn't play them last year, but when they played them the year before, like, I was mocking Kyle Lowry, being like, he's washed. That was 2 years ago. I remember Sixers fans hoping Kyle Lowry would play because he was so bad. And now
I
I'm
remember that too.
yeah. And now I'm supposed to sit here and be like, well, they have 3 roster spots, so they can at least pick out of all the trash players that are going to get cut. Like, wow, so exciting. Good job, Daryl Morey. Like, you have 3 open draft picks, so we get to talk about, or 3 open roster spaces. We get to talk about signing like Danilo Gallinari. Like, what like, all these guys are signing are not impact players. Kyle Lowry's going to come here. People are going to get excited. Like, oh, and he's not that good. And it sucks. Like, I mean, I like Kyle. Well, I don't really like Kyle Lowry. Like, he's a Philly guy and I root for him in that way, but I'm a Temple guy. So I actually don't.
Yeah,
really
but
care.
didn't you go to rival high schools?
Where do you go to high school?
I don't know. He went where Pat Gallen went.
Oh, he go to Northeast?
I think so.
I think he went to Northeast. Well, then, yeah, I went to Central. That's another reason for me not to like.
Oh, see, that's the real reason.
Yeah, the real winner today is Pat Gallen, by the way.
Yeah.
As much as he brings that story up, and it is a great story. Like, when Kyle Lowry signed with the Sixers, it's going to be quite the moment. But
no, he went to Cardinal Doherty.
Oh, then that's not a rival.
That's not your rival.
Our Nova boy James knew that. But anyway, to my point I'm making,
that was the quickest I've seen. That's the quickest I've seen James in the chat. You know,
I know he was right there and ready. Yeah, he was right there.
Talking, the Nova bat signal went up and said, "Hold on, I got us. I got us."
I think that, you know, when we started the pod, we kind of said, like, believe in the Sixers. Like, that was our message. No. Yeah, right. We're here to save the Sixers. Believe in them. And I feel like a fool. And, like, who knows what's going to happen?
How many times have you said you felt like a fool after believing in the Sixers? We're this, like,
I know.
You're on a pretty tough streak right now.
I know. Believing in the Sixers has not worked out for me. But it's how I felt. And, like, I feel like I have, like, egg on my face. It's everyone's like, they're the same old Sixers. Well, guess what? They're acting like it. Like, they're not investing in this year. They're not making good trades. And Joel's hurt. But to the point about Joel and him maybe not coming back. Why I also think, though, like trading for Morey today or making some type of creative trade where you trade a first round pick or 2 and get a good player in here is because if he does come back, it makes his life easier. Now, if Joel comes back, his main form of help that he's got is Buddy Hield. Like, obviously his Maxey too, but he had those guys. Like, there is nobody new here to help Embiid. If he comes back, he's going to have to be 100% MVP Joel, and maybe he will be, and I hope he will be, right? But if you would have got a Morey or something creative and exciting out of nowhere, then you go, okay, well, when Embiid comes back, he doesn't have to be that guy. So that's another disappointing part of this.
Well, the one thing that has been kind of I think the most shocking thing of the Morey tenure, you know, while I am happy with what happened today, is that he's just kind of made the obvious moves. You know what I mean? Like, there hasn't been anything that's, oh wow, didn't see that coming. Right. That's kind of been leaked out. Because what made him so, I mean, special is probably a reach, but like a very good GM in Houston was obviously, you know, the Harden trade, but even, you know, he found Kyle Lowry first. You know, you want to bring the whole thing full circle.
Well, like other guys, like was it Chandler Parsons? I'm gonna get his name wrong.
Yeah,
of course,
Chandler Parsons. Yeah.
Yeah, Shane Battier. Like, I feel like he hit on a bunch of guys in Houston that were out of nowhere. Like, who's he hit on in Philly? Like, what draft pick has he found late? That's great. What like?
Well, he trades them all away. I mean, you know, he doesn't even let the draft picks play.
Yeah, and like what free agent or trade has he made where it's like that was a great move? Like Melton, I guess you could argue has been good value for what they traded.
Seth Curry, yeah, like. I guess there's been marginal ones, but there hasn't been like massive success stories. No, it's all been like, again, it's been fine. Now, I think his overall tenure in Philly has been, it's fine. Now, he did inherit Ben and the Toby contract, and the Toby contract's going to be gone this offseason. Maybe, I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll just re-sign Toby because he's such an elite player. I mean,
honestly, 1 to 10, what are the chances they re-sign Toby? 3?
Like 4? Yeah, I can see it.
Embiid likes him.
Sick. Well, listen, I can't do it anymore. Cannot do it anymore.
Yeah.
But it's been really underwhelming. Like, again, he's been fine. It hasn't been like slam dunks, and it's been more obvious than not. But what made him, again, a quote unquote special GM was it always felt like he was finding the undervalued asset. Like, what's the undervalued asset the Sixers have right now? I mean, like, there was a blink of an eye at the beginning of the season where it was like, ooh, Kelly Oubre, you know? And,
yeah, I know. Yeah. And, you know, he got hit by a car.
Yes. And then now Kelly Oubre is like he can't score. He just can't score anymore. I know he had the back-to-back 25-point games,
It's
but
so
it's
sad.
like it's on like a million shots a game. Trading for again, campaign is the worst, man. Like he's just not a good basketball player.
Well, you
So
know what really sucks too?
yeah.
So the schedule they have coming up, they have 2 easy games. Like they have the Hawks. By the way, Murray is dropping 30 plus points tomorrow. Like no
Oh
question.
man, your guy, DeJounte Murray.
Yeah, I'm betting the over.
I've never seen.
I'm gonna bet 30.
I've never seen someone go from like never talking about a player to all of a sudden like this team's gonna crumble to the ground if they don't get more than you and DeJounte Murray.
I fall hard when I fall for players. So they have 2 easy games. I think it's the Warriors and then I'm not the Warriors, the Hawks and maybe the Wizards. But then listen to the stretch they have coming up: Cavs, Heat, Knicks, Cavs, Bucks, Celtics. They might legitimately lose all 6 of those.
Well, they might, dude. They can't. I don't trust them to win a basketball game right now.
Right.
Like basketball game. I don't care.
We haven't recorded since the. I mean, they are uncompetitive right now.
Dude,
like they look like they have no life. Like they look like the Eagles at the end of the season. They look like every trash team we've seen. Like they look like they have no shot, and they did nothing today to change that. If anything, they ripped the heart out of the team even more with Pat Bev. Like imagine going to practice tomorrow and it's like Pat Bev's gone, Marcus Morris is gone, Furk is gone. Daniel House is gone. Like a third of the roster is gone.
Well, the funny part is I'm pretty sure the shoot around yesterday or maybe this morning, I don't know. Pat Bev was messing with Marcus Morris and Furkan saying, "Oh, this is your last practice."
Oh, was he? Nice, yeah, beautiful.
And now they're all gone. So now they're all gone. All right, so the whole idea that Daryl Morey is a liar. Pat Bev talking about this out in. So I just got to be honest. Like, what did you want Daryl Morey to say in that scenario? Like, yeah, we're thinking about it. So
right.
What's the story here? I don't get what the story here is.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of thoughts on this. On one hand, I agree with you. Like, what's Daryl Morey going to say? He goes up to him and he goes, "Are you going to trade me?" It's like going up to your boss on a Wednesday being like, "Yeah, you'll never fire me, right?" And then, like, what's he going to be like? "No, but never. But in 2 days, we got to talk." Like, so I agree with that. And I always remember one time I was at the Combine. It was a few years ago. And I was talking to an agent of a player.
Oh,
and
look at you. Just
I know.
Doing big
I know.
J stuff.
I know. Yep. And he said something like, "Howie's my favorite GM to deal with in the league." And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Because at least I know he's lying." Right. So I do think that there is an element of lying that just comes with the job. Like it just is what it is. But on the flip side, you just don't want your GM to be known as someone that stabs people in the back. Like you just don't like. And
well,
I know
maybe don't trade the guy with one of the most popular podcasts in basketball.
Right. But like, like I know that you have to tell that to Pat Bev. Like I get it. You have to say that to him. But on the heels of the Harden thing, it just looks bad. Like if this was the first time it came out, then it's like, you know what, this is what the job is, blah, blah, blah. But I do believe that Daryl Morey said something to Harden and pulled back on it. Like now maybe it's for the better of the team, like whatever. But I don't think Harden's like going irrational for no reason. I believe there was a miscommunication there and Harden believes that Morey lied. And now another player saying he lied. So at the end of the day, do I think it's going to cost them? Probably not. But I will say when your top plan is to recruit and to convince stars to come here via trade or free agency, it isn't great that 2 very popular players around the league hate you or at least think you're a liar. Like it's just not great. So ultimately players will take the money.
Well, he did thank, like he was nice to Morey in his tweet, right? I mean,
of course he was. But we saw the real moment when he was raw. Like we saw what he said. We saw it. He said, Daryl said that he wasn't going to trade me. Now, to be fair, it was Roan, and like he does a great job on the pod that did call Daryl the liar, just to put that out there.
Yes,
but it just looks bad. Like there's no other way to put it. The optics of it are bad, and when your whole plan is to recruit, it's not good to have bad optics.
Well, don't worry. I mean, Paul George doesn't care about this stuff.
Dude, Paul George is going to be so washed here, and it's so sad because I love Paul George. I've wanted him for so many years. I remember when he was on the Pacers, like giving it to the Heat. I was like, this is the guy I want. He was like my Anthony Edwards back then. Like that was the guy. He is going to come here. He's going to play. First of all, he's not going to come here. But if he does come here, he'll play 40 games. He'll have some games he's great. They'll lose again. Like Paul George, I love him. I want him, but he's not the answer. Not if you're this. All this is to get Paul George next year. Like that is incredibly disappointing.
I'd still be in. Nah, I'd still be in. I'd still take Paul George. 100%.
So one more thing, right? I think that what's been frustrating about the Sixers and Daryl Morey the last few years is that there's always been these moments where there's been a week build up or 2-3 weeks where it's like, okay, he's doing something. Daryl, like playing chess, everyone's playing checkers, like Daryl's cooking. He's the most aggressive GM in the league, blah, blah, blah. Didn't trade for anybody his first year. Second year, Kyle Lowry was the hot player everyone wanted. Didn't trade for him. The next year he traded for James Harden, which I think was a good trade, but certainly isn't he's cooking, I can't believe he pulled this off move. And he didn't do anything this year. When's the time where we've sat here and been like, Daryl's going to do something, and then he pulls it out of his hat? It hasn't happened. I feel like Charlie Brown with the football. You like that? All this time being he's going to do something, he's cooking, here we go. When? What's he ever done?
Yeah, it's actually a lot like Dombrowski. Now, Dombrowski's had more success. Yes, he's had more success. But
well, I'm not going to fight that argument anymore.
Both of them came in here with the whole reputation that they make big moves. And yes, Dombrowski signed Trey Turner for $300+ million. He's spent money. But his whole MO was always making the big trade and trading the prospects and getting win now moves. Daryl's whole thing has been make the big move, make the big move, make the big move. And Ben for Harden was a big move, but I'm with you. There hasn't been. I think he has a ton of trades since he took over as GM, but nothing that has really moved the needle. It's been more reshuffling of the deck chairs than here we go. There's the all in move. For both franchises, you're kind of waiting for the all-in trade that signals that they're ready to push this thing over the top. I just, I would rather have the flexibility. Sure. I mean, coming down to it, it's taking the old Howie motto of hope is not a strategy. But I feel like
it's a great pull.
Daryl has a. I also have to give Daryl credit here. He's had pretty good reads on things that have happened around the league in the last couple of years. The Harden thing, he had a good read on. He knew that the Clippers were going to want him and held out. He was able to at least get something from Harden. He was able to get something for Harden.
When is him having a good read on things? He knew the Clippers wanted him. Harden demanded to go there. And he held on to him for a few months and didn't get a great trade package.
Yeah, but I mean,
I know he thought at the time he did, but
wow, listen, a bunch of role players. But he could have blinked and gotten I guess I gotta get rid of him to go.
I guess, yeah.
He created some fake rumors that other teams were interested. Right. But I trust his read on the market. I don't think he's had a total big whiff. Now, if he whiffs this summer, then I think that's a huge problem. But I'd rather have the flexibility than super invest in this roster. Even that means passing on perennial All-Star and future All NBA guy DeJounte Murray.
Mm. Well, and to that point, the pressure is on never before this offseason. He can't worry about winning a trade or saving $3 or $4 million. He has to land a star. This is the most pressure ever to go and do something. Because if they go into the offseason and they don't, and we're here at training camp next year and we're talking and it's they still have 5 first-round picks and they do still have no. You have to make the trade. You have to land whoever the best player of the player that is available that is the best. You have to get that guy. If Devin Booker becomes available and you don't get him, that is disastrous. If Anthony Edwards asks out of Minnesota and he ends up on the Knicks or he ends up somewhere else, that is a horrendous outcome. So not only have you set up hope as a strategy, you've set up having sucker across your head where you have to overpay. You have to go and do it. So look, I hope they get a star, but man, they've really set themselves up where they're going to have to overpay to do it.
Yeah. No, that's fine. It's okay.
You don't seem concerned by that.
I don't seem that concerned by it.
Yeah.
I still trust him from that standpoint. Yeah. I think he's had a pretty good read on things, and he has been leaking out, for the last little bit here that our plan is to have cap space this summer. That has to be for someone, that has to be there. Now, what's the name when they sign where it's really that's who you have all the Toby?
Well, look, if they re-sign Toby, the funniest thing is if they re-sign Toby, they gave Oubre $12 million or whatever. I mean, I'm trying to think of what star. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns would be hysterical.
He gives
But
Clay money for no reason.
yeah, Clay would be funny. Karl Anthony Towns might be the funniest because he makes no sense and he's a loser. So like
No,
that
I
would
would.
probably be the one.
We would have to find another team to like.
Yeah, become
I
a
wouldn't be
union
able
pod.
to. I wouldn't be able to do it. Resigns Markel Fultz.
That would be really funny.
Brings in Markel. Oh man, my boy Malik Beasley's a free agent. Bring him in.
I'm in on Malik Beasley.
Dude,
I think there's two Malik Beasleys, and I get them confused, but I know I'm in on a Malik Beasley.
There's a lot of Jack guys available this offseason.
Nice, that's encouraging.
There's like Malik Monk available. Would love him off the bench. There's so many.
They basically have him in Buddy Hield.
Yes, they do. Except Malik's way more bouncy.
So let me ask you this:
Royce O'Neal.
Oh my God,
my boy, Obi Toppin.
Dude, quick side note: how funny is that Obi Toppin's younger brother's in the dunk contest?
I was not aware he had a younger brother.
Dude, I'm pretty sure his younger brother's name is like it's similar.
Oh, you're right. Yes, I know him. Yes.
I'll look it up. Obi Toppin brother.
Jacob Toppin.
Yeah, dude. By the way, they need to stop letting Mac McGlung in the dunk contest. Like,
I think it's the biggest thing. Does it hurt your soul as someone who likes to do the whole all the Sixers do is win? Like I'm so overwhelmed with all the winning. Yeah. The biggest thing the Sixers have won is a Mac McClung dunk contest.
Well, they did win MVP, but yes, you're right. Like if I was, I don't even think he's in the Sixers organization anymore.
Is he?
But
all right.
I think he's in the Magic's like G League team. I think Adam Silver needs to step up and be like, as an adult, we're not doing the dunk contest if this is it. No, we're not doing it. Like it's like when like your parent says to you, like, "Oh, you're gonna be like, we're not going." Like that's what Adam Silver
I'll turn this car around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We'll do the 3-point contest, but if this is what the dunk contest is, like, we're not doing it.
Are you excited for Maxey in the 3-point contest?
Well, apparently he's not even in it. He's in the skill thing now.
Oh well, no, I saw it the other day. He was.
I know he talked about it, but he's not listed as a participant.
Oh, did Twitter lie to me? That's a disaster.
Maxey lied. Well, all right, so let me ask you one last Buddy Hield question. All right, so whatever we think about the trade, blah, 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 whatever. Like, how much do you think he helps the team right now? Like, however we want to help the team, don't like.
Yeah, no. I mean, listen, he's going to be there. He's going to play. I just think it's incredibly marginal. Like, I think he can score, but like, again, by the way, a Maxey, I know you're not a defense guy. Maxey Buddy Hield perimeter defense is about as bad as it gets. I just couldn't be less of a Buddy Hield guy. Like I think the biggest thing that me and you differentiate on is like you are strictly buckets at all times.
Yeah,
I am a
bucket boy.
Please move the basketball, and I'm not all just because I know that when Buddy Hield's not hitting threes, like he does absolutely nothing else. Like he provides zero to an NBA game. So like he'll have games where he goes off, and it's like, oh my God, Buddy Hield, like future Hall of Famer, and then he will be just kind of out there for stretches. When he gets hot, it's going to be incredibly fun, and it's going to be like, wow, this is dope. We should definitely re-sign him. And but like
Buddy Hield might be the one they re-signed. That's like I can't believe they did that.
Can't believe they did that.
Yeah.
So like, listen, there's a part of me that's of course excited to watch him because shooting is fun. I just don't think it really. Fun, I don't really think it is going to affect much outcome of things unless Joel comes back, and then I think him and Joel, like I think he's definitely better than Seth Curry was. So I think he's more of an offensive threat than Seth Curry. And I thought Seth and Joel had a really, really, really good 2-man game. So I think that's going to be exciting. But again, how far is a Buddy Hield and Embiid 2-man game with Maxey taking? Is that beating the Bucks in round one? No, it's not beating the Celtics. So here's my thing with Buddy Hield. I agree there are going to be moments where we watch him and I'm like, I'm back in. The Sixers are winning it all. Oh my God! That's gonna be 2 weeks from now. We're gonna do the whole dude, telling you, Buddy Hield, he's the guy.
Yeah, I beg on my face again, but
it's such an idiot.
Yeah, I was wrong again. Who would have thought? But I think the other thing about Buddy is like there's this expectation that because he takes so many threes, and look, the Sixers do need threes. Like I think they're 27th in the league in 3-point attempts. I just wonder how much of them not taking threes is they don't create threes. Like I know Buddy's willing to take them and they will create looks for him, but I don't think like they're gonna like Buddy's gonna come in here and shoot 10 threes a game. I just don't think they're a team that creates a lot of threes. Like Joel has the ball a lot. Now Joel's not gonna be there for 6 weeks, so that might help. But I think what Buddy does well is shoot threes and open threes. I don't think he's going to get a lot of open threes. He's not good on defense. He doesn't create for people. He doesn't get to the basket. He barely ever shoots anything but a three, which, obviously is my heart. Like, I love that. But he's not going to get great looks. So I think there'll be games where, again, he makes 7 threes and it's amazing. But I think there's going to be long stretches where he has 9 points. And I also think they're going to play him a ton. And I don't think he's a player that the more you play, the better he is. Like, I don't think he's like the key to unlocking Buddy is playing him 38 minutes. I think the key is.
I thought you were about to say I don't think he's going to get a key to the city.
No, yeah, exactly. I think they're
bad sign
and giving Sixers keys to the city.
I mean, they did ruin the key to the city because now anyone that gets it is going to think they're being traded. Should
Marcus give it back? I don't think so.
No, I don't think he should. Should Howard get a key to the city?
Yeah, give it to Howard. But yes, that's my thing with Buddy. I think he'll be good. I think there'll be moments, but ultimately, like, what's he really doing? Like, it'll be fun moments, but there's gonna be a lot of moments too where he's got 5 points or 3, or actually he'll always have increments of 3. Like he'll have 3, 6, 9.
3, 6, 9. Wow, that's beautiful. That's good symmetry.
You like that? Yeah. You get the lyric? I don't think you got the joke. I
did get the joke.
Oh, good. Right.
Tell me if this makes any sense. But this is my comparison of the Buddy Hield trade. The Buddy Hield trade is like the Tony Romo of Tony Romo is a broadcaster of trades,
right.
Where it's like,
yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah,
and that's basically I feel like how Morey looked at it. Like, I don't know, like maybe if B gets back, what, Buddy?
So I'm not big on announcers. Like I think they're mostly all the same. But Tony Romo, he does really do that. Like the time you watch Tony Romo, he legitimately like does the whole like I don't know. Yeah. Exactly. Surprised no one's told him to stop.
Yeah.
By the way, random broadcaster take. I think Tom Brady's going to be an awesome announcer.
Dude, I think he's going to be awesome.
Like when he's an announcer, all these like Greg Olsen is the best thing. People are going to like shout out to Greg Olsen, but no one's going to be clamoring for Greg Olsen. Tom Brady is going to be the best announcer of all time.
And I think if someone was smart, they would pay Belichick and Saban to do a podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure they're willing, but I don't. Yeah, you have to pay a lot of money. But I agree.
Saban's doing College Game Day, and Belichick needs to get on the media circuit so he can be the Eagles head coach next year. So like,
oh god. Well, so the funny thing about a Belichick Saban podcast is that everyone listened to it and pretend they love it, and it would actually be really boring.
Oh my god! Could you imagine? NFL Twitter, like, oh, did you hear them break down
exactly
3-4 defenses and how it's changed?
The way they talked about the zone coverage on this third down play, like, this is what football is, man.
Yeah. See, this is enough of the hot takes.
Exactly. Yeah. Fire Elliott. Just
Elliott. Why can't you break down?
Yeah, exactly.
A gap pressure like Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
You clown.
Why don't you have a job? You hack. Yeah.
Yeah. Go out.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing before getting out of here. What'd you make of the Joel Embiid tweet?
All right. I'm happy you brought this up.
I mean, it's horrible, right? I mean, like,
here's my thing with the Joel
not a good tweet.
Honestly, the worst feeling I could have had about it was I don't care anymore, man. Like great, Joel. You tweeted something. People had to read into it. You got the attention. Like, awesome. Like, congrats, man.
Hold on. That's how people look at your Twitter account.
But here's the difference. My job is to like create conversation and to discuss what's going on. That's not.
Oh, Elliot, no way. You think this guy's elite again?
Yeah, exactly. Oh God. But that was my reaction. It was just like,
no,
awesome,
I know.
Joel.
I mean,
awesome, great tweet.
It is unbelievable how it just feels like everyone with this team is back to the please go away.
It's absurd. Think about where we were when they scored 70 points. Think about that.
I know.
It wasn't that long ago. And the max, forget the 70 points, even the 51 points.
Yeah, but even that, we knew Embiid was hurt.
True, but we didn't know as bad. But I don't know. What'd you think of the Joel tweet?
Oh, I mean, it's just like if you're so mad, like, here's my thing with Joel. we know that NBA superstars have the most power of any superstar in sports, besides maybe quarterback. If you're so mad, if it's about them not doing anything, then put your foot down. But at the same time, don't put the foot down, gently.
Yeah. Well, the annoying thing about Joel tweets is that someone will ask him about it, and it probably won't be for a while because he won't talk. He'll just go like, "Nah, man, I love basketball and I love talking about it." And it's like, okay, yeah, like that's definitely what you were doing.
Oh yeah, no, it's like the Turner tweet when he did for the Turner ovation. Like, I'm sure that was about a soccer game that was right in the middle of Phillies fans giving a standing ovation to a player that was struggling.
Mid-major Matt in the chat, saying the new Big Four is Phillies, Flyers, Eagles, Union.
How's that make you feel?
Kind of sad, to be honest.
Well, I mean, listen, Flyers aren't really in there, but
yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. Man, what a fall
times.
from grace.
Excited to do the next post game pod.
Listen, man. Any chance I get to talk to you is always a great
I love
day.
it.
And any chance that we get to talk to our audience is also a great time.
Yeah, it's a great time.
So it is what it is. How's that? It is what it is.
It is what it is. Maybe that's the title of the pod. It is what it is.
I don't really know, we'll see you in the summer.
Yeah, see you in the sumper for Clap Your Hands version 3.0.
Hey, we got a couple more events coming up for the Clap Your Hands
That's
World
right.
Tour.
Come watch on March 1st with us.
Keep drowning your sorrows. Yeah, well, listen, and you and I will also be, I think, hosting on WIP that day. So
yeah, it'll be a lot of Ellie and Jack. We'll host on WIP that day. And good news, it's a Friday, so I can drink a little.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone's gonna be really nice to us. It's gonna be a great time.
Yeah, it'll be good.
All right. Well, for Elliot Shore Parks, for myself, and for Coors Light, this has been another edition of Clap Your Hands.